Yeah, so it's one of those things. Is always take the what you're hearing for reports with a grain of salt, because even the best reporters who are reporting on that, they're only getting part of the story, right? So it's always.
And Rick is hearing it direct from the agent who gets paid based off of how much his clients get paid.
And how do negotiations work? The person who wants to get paid comes in at a higher number. The person who's doing the paying comes in at a lower number, and they meet in the middle.
Yeah.
Or they don't, and it goes off, right? So it's in terms of some of the numbers we've heard for players, I bet you the what they sign for, if they sign with the Canucks, is going to be lower than what we've heard.
And this might be a good segue to maybe switch from Zadorov over to Hronek, in the sense that the numbers that we've heard from his camp is up in like the 8 range. And apparently there was an offer from the Canucks in the 6.5 range. So yeah, just to your point there, like they're probably going to meet in the middle somewhere if Hronek ends up staying.
Yeah. And if Hronek ends up staying, he's going to have to figure out how to handle the media a little bit better.
Yeah, do we want to dip into that there, just for context for people who didn't see it? He was being asked about whether his production fell off
due to an injury or not.
An injury. Was Jeff Patterson that was the reporter there, and then it led to an exchange of Jeff saying that the media gave him space all year, and it was. Pissy was was a word that came to mind. It has similar.
It definitely had a "Why are you so pissy, Leon" vibe to it.
Yeah,
sure.
That's Jim Matheson and Leon Draisaitl. Wonder if Hronek was maybe not wanting to dive into that topic for a particular reason. We never know entirely sure why. My opinion is when you look at the guys told, how the first part went, how the second part went, how we didn't see very many 1-Ts. It's a question that needs to be asked. So there's a polite way of answering the question, or there's a frosty way of answering it. And Hronek's not wrong to take the frosty approach, but probably not the best way of handling that, in my opinion.
And I think to a certain degree, like J-Pat is allowed to ask that question. I think it was more just the tone and the way he worded it. Like it was the execution of asking that question that I think J-Pat kind of failed at, and basically set that moment up for a icy Hronek, typical Hronek sort of icy reply.
Yeah, and it was, to me, like the emotions got the better of both of them.
Yep.
In the end there, the line of questioning that Jeff Patterson took was definitely very valid. And whether or not there is a injury or something that hampered Filip Hronek for a little bit there, for a decent amount of the second half, the one I do wonder if he just didn't want to have that as an excuse more than anything else.
Kind of take the opposite approach as what PD did, and obviously we'll get to PD in a minute.
It's not even I think he just didn't want that to have an excuse, and I think if we've learned anything about Filip Hronek this year, is he's not the best public speaker, and
or at least he picks and chooses his moments, like that burn at the end of the Flames game in the last time.
That's not even public speaking, though. That's chirping, and that's a completely different skill set.
Fair. But what I'm trying to say, though, is he basically picks and chooses when he likes to talk. And clearly, in front of a microphone, he kind of gets shy.
Yes. So I think you have to take that into account as well. And if I think that's the best way to put it. And his play for the most of the part of the second half was solid. But it wasn't at the level that I think they needed, especially in the playoffs, from him. And then he was also forced. He also had bad habits of forcing pucks and plays when there was no need to. So that's just something that he needs. So I think he'll over the off season going into next year, once training camp hits and everything, I think that once the dust settles a bit more, I think that he'll be able to, him and the coaching staff should be able to work through that, assuming that he is back. So because he needs